All wings report in.
Red 10 standing by.
Red 7 standing by.
Red 3 standing by.
Red 6 standing by.
Red 9 standing by.
Red 2 standing by.
Red 11 standing by.
Red 5 standing by.
I have you now.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to 585 Squadron Podcast. I am Nate, and I fly Scum.
I'm Nick, and I fly Imperials.
I'm Pat, and I am the Rebel player.
And it has been quite a long time since we've done one of these episodes, and we have a lot of stuff to catch you up on. We don't know where to start, so I think, first and foremost, we'll start with the most recent thing and go backwards. Congratulations to our store champion, Pat Murphy.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, so you wanna talk about that?
Sure, yeah. Obviously, I'm the best out of all of us and everyone in Rochester. Clearly, I'm the best player.
Clearly.
It's actually funny because, we went to the Naboo Open. I took a dash Miranda there and did, I guess we'll get to it in a bit, but I did okay there. And so I kept practicing with that dash Miranda, and I've just got better and better at it. And then kind of everything just clicked together at the store championship where I, was able to win all my games, go 4-0, and then...
and this was the Rochester Store Championship, right?
Yeah, the Millennium Games Store Championship in Rochester. So there was a cut to top 4. So I actually played... The guy I played in my 4th round, I played him in the top 4 again. Which is I've never had that happen before, and it was kind of strange because we just played each other, so now there's a little bit of mind games going on with, will I do the same thing I did last game, or am I going to change it up?
Exactly. Yeah, it's unfortunate when you got to play the same person twice in any tournament, or when we have to play each other in any tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this tournament was this was me and Pat. Nick couldn't make it this round, but I'm sure he would have got up to the top. I actually just got underneath Pat in second place, and Nick, if you were there, top 3, we got to do it.
So I hear what you're saying, and if you're saying that I would have been third, you probably would be correct.
Yeah,
but I believe in you. I love the Imperials. Actually, the two people that I faced in the finals leading up to the match with Pat were Imperials.
Okay.
Yeah. The other. Yeah, Nate, so I was obviously flying Rebels. Nate, you were flying Scum. The 2 players we played in the top 4 were both Imperial, and there was people complaining about Imperials, like a lot of the other podcasts I listen to. Man, their Imperial squads are everywhere. I keep seeing tons of them. In the store championship, there was like half the field was just like 3 Imperial ships. You know what I mean? There was lots of Omega Leader, lots of like Darth Vaders and stuff.
I honestly kind of feel like what's his name, Emperor Palpatine, was like a ball and chain that held Imperials down. And as much as he's an amazing card, you have to dedicate so much of your list to use him. And now that he's not quite as good, people are free of him, and they're starting to experiment more. And I hate it.
Yeah, I mean, I just the other night I played against a 2 TIE Special Forces and a Colonel Vessery list that just wrecked my face, like just destroyed me. I think now people are kind of breaking out of the Imperials need to be like 2 auto thruster aces and Palpatine, and I think that's they're all the better for it. However, at the Store Championship, what that does help is turrets, because not a lot of these Imperial lists are running auto thrusters, and so I had Miranda with TLT and Dash Rendar, so I was very happy to see a lot of Imperial lists that I came up against with no auto thrusters in them at all.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was super helpful. So a lot of people have been running the Miranda with the cluster mines. I actually, Paul Heaver, who won the Naboo Open, and I ran the same Miranda there. I actually switched out. I got kind of tired of cluster mines. I've several times blanked out, and I just kind of wanted a bomb that doesn't. So I switched back to counter nets, which is essentially 2 guaranteed damage.
Yeah.
With Sabine, and I'm very, very glad that I did, because the other bomb I have on there is thermal detonators, and so being able to make them go one forward, give them 2 damage, and then drop a thermal detonator the next turn and do them 2 more damage in a stress, and then shoot twice on top of that is very, very nice.
Oh yeah, that's why I've always just hated Miranda so much.
Yeah, she's I mean, but it's between her and Fen, I think, who are like the 2 best ships in the game right now.
For now.
Yeah, for now.
Yeah. On that note, do we want to start talking about the next stuff to come out, or we want to keep talking about the list some more?
Why don't we do chronologically so we can kind of build it up to where we are now?
Sure.
So, I Naboo, only because I had the unfortunate ability of going up against Pat's Miranda Dash after he's been practicing it a while, and Naboo was my 7th total tournament game, being a little overwhelmed, but it was lots of fun. That was 13 hours the first day of nonstop X-Wing, and it was amazing. And my back hurt so much, and I learned to love that list so much that it's my one and only baby until Wave 11 comes out. At least from what I flew, is you guys were talking about, the standard Imperials that you're seeing everywhere. My baby that I've been flying for the longest time is quick draw with lightweight frame, push the limit, and electronic baffle, veteran instincts, and ion cannon with targeting computer, and veteran instincts, and adaptive ailerons. And basically this list is like, come get me. Yeah, they might be aces. 360 arcs will melt them and have proven to melt them. But if you have big ships or anything else, I've been honing my piloting skills with this, and it's a pretty heavy hitter with about 5 attacks per turn with only 3 ships. So I had a good experience at Naboo.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. I had a good experience with Naboo too. Was Naboo Canada?
Syracuse.
No.
Syracuse. Okay. Oh God, yeah, it's been a while. Well, I remember flying the Finn, Guri, and the old man Tarok, Finn and Guri there, and like everyone looked at my Guri and was like, "What the hell is that? You're running a Star Viper, what?" And it ended up doing me really, really well because it was in a tiny mind link list. So just getting within range 1 with Guri and having him, like, he didn't really do much except took fire away from Fen and got up in everyone's face. So he was essentially just a glorified blocker for a lot of points. But he did have 3 attack dice, so that was good. But the biggest thing is you get him within range 1, he feeds a focus token to everybody, which leaves him open to a barrel roll or a target lock, which made it beautiful. And I I had one match that I will never forget about where I chased a Darth Vader to the end of the game. Like, I took out the rest of the ships in the build, and it was just one-on-one Guri and Darth Vader, and I was behind him, and I could outmaneuver Darth Vader on a regular, but like, there was nothing he could do to change it up, and I was constantly behind him, and if I had another turn, I would have put in the damage to kill him and win the game, but it was a loss by 2 points. The rest of the tournament, I guess was good or whatever. But that one game, I'm not gonna forget that game.
Yeah, well, I try to go in with no expectations. So that's why I went into Naboo, and then like I said, we play 7 games. You need to win 5 to make the cut to day 2. Well, after the 4th game, I went 4-0. So I thought, I'm in day 2, no problem.
Yeah.
All I have to do is win 1 game in 3. And between a couple of bad, like, I can only point to one of the games I definitely made a mistake, which got Dash killed. But the other 2 games, man, I got decently bad matchups against decent players. and I was like, I wasn't looking forward to the shield tokens. And then as soon as I got to 4-0, I was like, oh man, I could get some shield tokens here, but it was not to be.
You know what I think it was?
What's that?
I think it was the Pat curse. I think you just got under your own skin and got too cocky for your britches, and then just everything went to shit.
That's probably correct. Yeah, yeah. But I really do like. I really am one of those people who have a time limit with X-wing. Like as soon as my back starts to hurt after like round 3, I'm like, all right, I gotta sit down here and not think too hard.
Yeah. I whenever we see each other to play each other, like during the week when it's not in a tournament scene, I'm always seeing you and playing you at that like 100% full energy peak level, and that's what's got me to hate Dash Miranda, like 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. See, you just need to play me after I've played like 6 games already, and you'll just win very, very easily. So.
Yeah.
I wish I played you in the 4th round as opposed to the 2nd round, because that second round you played very well, you flew very well, as your record indicates. But the problem that I had is I was still learning how to fly pure sabacc, and I just remember being absolutely drunk flying a 1 bank right and then a 3 bank right onto an asteroid, thinking that I could 5 bank right within range 1, and I might have been within range 1 of your Dash or your Miranda, but I was on an asteroid, and I just remember going, "Oh," and he did.
Yeah, I love pure sabacc, but we'll probably move on to Canada shortly. I brought pure sabacc up to Canada, and the only time I played it, it got one-shotted. It didn't even shoot. It got one-shotted by something with higher PS. I was like, oh, I'm so sad.
Yep. Oh my god. Oh, that's exactly why I had that Gray list that I was talking about. Is because I'm like nines and 7s, just everything.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Gray wasn't, but he didn't need to shoot. He just needed to get in the way.
Yeah, TIE Strikers are one of those things where if you make them too good, the same as quad jumpers in my opinion, like they're fun ships, but they've got mechanics where if you make them too good, then they're game breaking and negative play experiences. But Strikers are fun ships to fly no matter what, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Yep, they are. There's nothing like a 5 bank right. That's like, where the hell did this ship come from? Where is he going?
Yeah.
Yeah. But speaking of the quad jumpers, I think last time we talked they were new-ish.
Yep.
Yeah. I have had so much practice with them now, and I still love them just as much. And I think, Pat, you kind of hit the nail on the head there with the whole you can't put too many points into them.
Yeah.
Actually, was there anything left for Naboo? Because I think that's a good jumping off point to go to Canada.
The only thing left for Naboo is none of us made day 2, but I believe Nick was our Jar Jar finishing in 3rd. Was that correct?
That was Nate.
That was me.
Was it?
Yep. We've all Jar Jarred. I think my Jar Jar was Toronto when I was official.
Yes.
Because I took class in Toronto.
That's true. That's true.
To simply put it, for those of you who we haven't, if we say that we're whoever is a Jar Jar, it's just out of the 3 of us, one of us ends up being the security officer, one of us ends up being some other character, and then one of us is Jar Jar. It's like best to worst based on our MOV. But I mean, Jar Jar is pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah. I can't remember who's the guy. What do we name the person who does the best? I can't remember. I just like naming people Jar Jar.
Obi-Wan. You were the original Obi-Wan.
Oh, is that Obi-Wan?
The freaking Jedi.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
I prefer Qui-Gon Jinn, but whatever, I guess.
I guess I'll settle with Obi-Wan. You're our only hope.
Yep.
That is
Nick, did you have anything else to talk about for Naboo?
Play experience is 13 hours of X-Wing. It just reflected, I think, in the next day when we did Hangar Bay, when all of us were kind of physically like hung over when we just didn't want to move another ship, and we just kind of were like, you guys just want to wipe? Let's just go.
You
Things were
actually,
really tough.
yeah, you actually reminded me of a story that I have for Hangar Bay from Naboo. So I was saying that the quad jumpers were new. I had a list then that I freaking love. It's a Y666. I think it's Bosk. It doesn't have to be Bosk, but just a really jazzed up one of those things with a big hammer, and then 3 quad jumpers with nothing but the tractor beam array. And do they have barrel roll? If they have barrel roll, then not, but otherwise vector thrusters to give them barrel roll.
No, they do have barrel.
Okay, so it's the it's that one thing, primed thrusters, so you can boost it in barrel even if you're stressed. Because the funnest thing in the world with those things is to go backwards at an angle 1 and then barrel roll. The Hangar Bay game that I'm thinking of that I ran this thing, this freaking monster, went up against the Kanan Biggs list, and I bumped the Kanan, the Ghost, off the board. Like,
Oh yeah.
2 of my quad jumpers just went all ham and like dashed right towards him, and then every turn I would like back up 1 and barrel roll into position, so his little like oh crap maneuver had to move into it and get bumped, and then the other one would just hang back and kind of do like funky little loop-de-loops at his range 5, so he couldn't K-turn, and I just kept doing that until he had no other option but to go off the board. It was great.
Yep. Definitely fun times. We saw some fun lists at our Hangar Bay. I know all 3 of us were in there, but some of them kind of blew my mind. And I think I saw that Ghost that could simply just look at you and say, hey, Whisper, you're dead. There's nothing you can do about it.
That was the Kanan Biggs list.
Yeah.
Yeah, that list is good.
God. 4 damage, there's nothing you can do about it. Good luck.
It was very demoralizing. I mean, I hit him as hard as I could, and of course, I haven't really flown a lot of Whisper, so naturally I just forgot to cloak or forgot to barrel roll out, so that really made the game for me. But, man, when I was range 1, I did everything I could to just, like, put on the brakes and try to get out of range 1, but that Ghost he just smiled at me when I got range 1, and I was like, well, I need to one-shot you. How am I going to one-shot a Ghost?
Pray.
Yeah, I tried, and I did. I came close, but he ultimately just said next turn, and he's like, I don't have to roll dice, you're dead.
That's so demoralizing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, and on top of that, on top of the 13 hours of XWing prior, I was like, or the day before, I was like, all right, and that's when I just looked at you guys, I'm like, you good for an hour and a half drive back?
Yeah.
A lot of fun, a great weekend, a great experience, but yeah, that was Naboo.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was Naboo. We had a good time there. It was a great experience. But a couple weeks later, or about a month later, some elapsed amount of time later, we went to Canada for another tournament, the PTL Open, right?
Yeah, yep, it was a PTL Open.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, it was. We went up to Canada and we got stopped by the Border Patrol, who were wondering what we were doing on the way back. And we told him we played X-Wing, and he was like, "What?" And we're like, "Yeah, a little ship game. We went for a tournament." And the guy's like, "Did you win?" We're like, no." He's like, "Oh, get better."
Yep. Yeah, he actually said that.
Yeah, harassed by security. All right. But the tournament itself, I had a great time there. It was a very casual atmosphere, but people who brought like good stuff. We met some new friends. Shout out to Rob and Evan if you guys are listening. And we had a good time. I don't you guys have anything you want to bring up right away?
Yeah, so I think we should talk about the format real quick because it's very, very interesting. Honestly, I found out about the event in Naboo. I actually played one of the guys up. I think his name's Tim. He's from Toronto. He was running like an Asajj, Torkel Mux, and then something else, Scum List against me. And he was telling me about the PTL Open. And so it sounded the exact opposite of the Naboo Open, which is very like people bring their A game and their A lists. So the PTL Open is you bring 3 lists, and then before each game, you secretly select which list you're using and then flip them over. So that was really cool because I got to bring, you got to bring 3 different lists, and there was a couple of people who brought like just 3 like meta lists, but like for the most part, like it's just 3 lists you want to fly. Like as in my first game, one of my lists is 3 A-wings and 2 Rebel TIE fighters, all with snapshots. And I played against a guy who had like a U-wing and like Red Ace. And you know what I mean? Like, just not medalists, just kind of ships fighting each other and shooting and
things that were fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there was a cut to top 8, but they gave out prizes multiple times, multiple games, and so it was a really, really fun casual environment, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was really great. I gotta say though, I have had. Not though, and this had nothing to do with the PTL itself, but that tournament specifically is I had 2 events of my least favorite XWing experiences ever at that tournament. One was I was playing against someone, we were like really friendly, everything was going well, but a judge walked by as I was playing, and he noticed that one of my ships bumped into one of my own ships, and I was like, okay, I didn't think anything of it, and I just kept going past that. And he like walked by, took a step back, and looked at my field, and like glared at me. I was like, what? And he's like, do you want to replay that? And I was like, okay. So I like moved my ship back, and I'm like looking at him all confused and question mark and everything. And he was like, yeah, so you have that crit that says when you bump, you take a damage, and your ship only has 1 life left, so you're destroying your own ship. And I was it was one of my most negative experiences because, especially after the World Championship where that guy got booted for cheating, the last thing I want to be known as is a cheater, and like I totally just overlooked it and screwed up, and something to learn for better next time, and having crit tokens so you don't forget these things. But like I was just so embarrassed that I'm like, no, I'm not a cheater. Don't do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, Nate, knowing you, playing against you, I would kind of put the onus on the other player. If they don't insist on crit tokens or reading the crit or calling you out or reviewing your cards, then, I mean, thank God for the judge. And I don't think you have that reputation, but I think it's on your opponent to just pause the game and say, hey, let me take this back a second.
Yeah, forget them. I'm totally right.
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean. But yeah, I hate being that guy, and I really didn't want that to happen, especially in this was such a good positive environment for everybody, and like everyone was bringing fun things, and they were more concerned about, hey, let's see how this plays than, oh, I'm gonna win,
To be fair, there were a shitload of prizes there.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Like books and everything. I got a shirt. It was great.
Yeah, you did. That was great. The other negative play experience that I was talking about, though, was playing against Pat. At the very, very end. Okay, so a little bit of history. There was a list that Pat created that he just called Fuck It. And I saw that it's a 3 Jumpmaster list that doesn't have any of the torps. And I was like, oh my god, I love this list. So, of course, I brought it. And it's amazing, and it's like... Okay, so it's an amazingly fun list to play, but it's only that way if you're an asshole and you really like to see other people suffer. So having that list put together where your opponent can't do anything and you're all about bumping and getting in the way and, not really playing the game. It's, for those of you who play Magic, it's basically a blue deck. I was having a blast, but the reason why this was a negative play experience is I've honestly never seen Pat so pissed off at this game before, and I was like, "Oh, I'm the reason for that."
I will say this one thing. I'm so glad that was the last game of the day, because if that was that like in the day, I'd have been like, "Oh, god damn it."
Yeah, just like done.
a little.
Yeah, no, I mean it's basically 3 bump masters that between the intelligence agent, the ion projector, and having 3 of them means you can basically just pick a ship and be like, you're not moving this turn.
Exactly. And with their dial,
you get no actions.
yeah, with their dial and barrel roll, it's so easy
Yeah.
to be like, oh, you've been spending all this time firing at this guy. That's cute. I'm gonna make it so you can't shoot him, and then this other guy's gonna do the same thing but worse. Ugh.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Nick.
I played against this list well after the tournament, so we were both a little practiced. But I think the biggest thing too, Pat, is to your credit, your only list that you had to fly against that was 2 Brobots.
Yeah.
And I think depending, like, if they need to boost and they're large ships with asteroids, that's just not a fair matchup. That's just straight up just wrong.
Yeah, well, the problem with the Brobots is they don't have a 4 forward, I don't think. I think the fastest they can go is 3.
Yeah.
I would double check that, but like that makes it really hard to just go, I'm just blowing out of here and I don't care. So it makes it really easy to block. And like you said, Nick, it was like there was a points in the game where I was like, should I just hard turn onto this asteroid just to get out of the way?
Yeah. There was I mean, we both knew what was going on in that game too, and we like the first 5 or 6 turns, we just took laps around the edge until I eventually turned in and was like, this is gonna have to happen. We're just gonna make it happen.
Yeah. I essentially needed a scenario where the first engagement, I pick one of your ships, I do 8 damage to it, or close enough to 8 damage so the next turn I can kill it. And I didn't quite get there. I'll also say I feel sorry for the other guy. There was another guy who played you. I finished my game early. The guy the guy with the TIE fighters.
Yes.
He was very nice, but his face was just like, I'm sad, because with TIE fighters you have feedback array on there too, so you can literally just pick a TIE fighter turn and just go, you're dead.
Yep. That's what I was doing too. Just 3 of my ships, feedback array, bam, 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 it's gone. Okay, so you had Omega Leader in there somewhere? Yeah, he's gone. Okay, you don't want to modify what? Oh, don't worry about it, he's gone. Yeah, like I love that list. That's what I brought to the Rochester tournament and got 2nd place with, and I would have had to play Pat again in the finals. But yeah, like I love that list, but it's definitely one of those I'm never opening it for friendlies. Like I'm never gonna get it in our friend locals. Friendlies.
Yeah, like it's the same thing for like we each have a couple of ships like that where it's like I really try hard not to build big lists, especially casual ones.
Nick, do you have any trouble with bigs? Because like I'm kind of on the fence about him.
Like you guys know, I kind of have my aces list, and I feel pretty confident that I can wipe from battle on turn 1. Only because I take all 3 ships, I ram them down your throat, I ion cannon you, I'm quick draw, which a lot of people choose not to fire back at quick draw, so it's like 4 or 5 shots a turn. So every time I played bigs throughout all these tournaments, I've pretty much removed him within 2 turns, or I've just lost the game.
Yeah. I kind of get
I mean, I agree. I think there's games where like bigs of evade dice are just like super hot and it just hurts you to a point where the attrition will win out against you. But for the most part, he's not broken in the typical sense of like this is just completely overpowered and undercosted. It's just that one of the people who were friends with Evan described it as a fun tax, and it's actually a good description. He dictates a fun tax. Yeah, like you have to kill bigs first, and then you can play the game. He makes it hard to design good rebel ships because you can put them next to bigs, right? Think about like Paul Heaver's list is Miranda and a stress spot and bigs. And if bigs didn't exist, you'd obviously go for one of the other ships first because they're dangerous, but you just can't unless you, of course, with the recent FAQ, recent-ish, you can shoot missiles at him. But I just think The only thing that makes me worry about the game, and I love the game, I play it all the time, is the negative play experiences, right? So, like, in the Naboo Open, I sat down the first round, I look across from me, the guy's got 4 TLT Y-Wings. Now, that's fine, you can bring whatever you want to the tournament, I'm not mad at that person, but, like, as someone who has to play against it, even when I won, and I did win, it wasn't enjoyable. So there's certain things like bigs that just kind of make the game unenjoyable. They're negative play experiences. Kylo Ren is another card that's not broken, but if it's a negative play experience if you come up with a list like, with the TIE Advanced, you can flip the face down cards face up again. That combined with Kylo is really annoying. Now, it's not the end of the world. Like, that list is not good, obviously, because people, like, are not playing it, right? Because they realize that, you have to put a lot of points into making that work.
Right, and the biggest problem is he has to take an action to flip it back over. So there's this TIE Fighter or TIE Advance that just evaporates.
Right, yeah, exactly. So it's not that Biggs is broken, it's just that I try not to run things regularly that my opponents will not like. Bombs is probably the exception, but it's not like I'm running 3 K-Wing bombers, you know what I mean? Like, I'm running Miranda, she can be alpha striked very, very easily. In fact, one of the games at Millennium, she took 8 damage in 1 turn, she had 1 life left after the first turn of combat. So it's very easy, and then she died the second turn. And only through Dash Rendar being just an amazing ship was able to pull the rest of that game out. So it's all about balancing the game so that, yes, competitive players can take any list and the list they design and go for the win, whether that list is fun or not at a competitive event. But also, if you're playing casually or even in an event that's still casual, making sure that players who are maybe not that good can still show up, and even if they don't expect to win, and they shouldn't expect to win because they're not that good, they just don't get beat down by these stupid lists that are just not fun to play against. And I think when we get to Wave 11, we'll kind of talk about this, because although I'm not one of these people who's jumping on the X-Wing is broken because of this wave train, which seems to happen every wave, someone thinks this, every single wave, Wave 10, game's over. Same thing. Every single article that's come out for Wave 11, and there's been an article by someone famous in the X-Wing community saying, "Oh, game's over. X-Wing is broken. Blah blah blah." But this is the first wave where, I am worried about those casual players not being able to overcome things like the reinforce action on the Wookiee ship combined with Biggs. Can't remember the pilot's name who can spend the reinforce to give Biggs an evade. You pair that with selflessness, and you can make Biggs last for a significant amount of time.
Yeah.
That and then you could you can put in anything you want with the last 50 points. You can put in a fully loaded Miranda. You can put in a fully loaded Corrin. You might even
I think we're kind of getting deep into what's going on in Wave 11 territory now. We'll hold off on that until we're done reviewing our tournaments. So stay tuned, and we'll talk more about Wave 11 later, eventually, maybe.
Nice.
But as far as the tournament goes, as far as Canada goes, I remember seeing 1 Kanan Biggs there, and that was it. And that's what I see is 1 per tournament.
Yep.
Yeah.
I flying, and that was kind of my epiphany. You guys turned me on to the idea of, hey, there are other factions and other ships that you guys could fly.
No.
And that was so. I went with my standard list, which was great, and then I tried a Whisper and Rear Admiral, and oh my god, I don't know how to fly that list. It was really crappy. I went up against the guy who won the tournament in game 4, I think, and he was my hand walking through it, and I'd be like, okay, now you want to Darth Vader me. Now you want to do this. And I was like, thank you. But in a good way. It was an amazing experience. But I think, Nate, what you were alluding at here is I learned the magic of TLT Y-Wings, and
Yeah.
I loved that third list where it was just, I think I ran the Scum version of it with Unchanged Abramac, I think.
Unhinged, yeah.
And it was amazing. It was amazing to just fly for GPS signal coordinators and then just say, that shit blows up.
That's the most accurate description I've ever heard.
Yeah, you just take 4 ships and you put them surrounding one and it just disappears. And that's it. The Y-Wings are not immortal at all. I won one game with it, and another game I lost. And when I lost, all I did is I flew him incorrectly, I think, as well as he had a pretty good powerhouse with an Upsilon and Tomix, I think, as a bomber. And I just fed the Y-Wings to him one at a time, and they just went poof and disappeared without a shot. So, I mean, they're not immortal, but that opened my eyes to the magic of what a TLT Y-Wing can do. And as an Imperial player, I'm pretty excited about that.
Oh, good. Yep, that's coming in Wave 11. So excited. I am actually really excited about that.
So, do you have anything else to say about Naboo? No?
I don't think so. I think I'm all good.
I have something to say, and it's a complaint about Canada.
Oh, God. And we're
all right. So let me tell you something about Canada. They give you parking tickets just for parking on a side street with no signs posted, just for parking on a side street for 6-7 hours, no big deal, a reasonable amount of time. And they give out tickets for this. Ridiculous, Canada. Ridiculous.
Matt, your car does not have a 0 stop that it can move without stress.
I
operate that for 6 hours. Yeah,
I'm only joking, Canada. Your website to pay the fine was very, very user friendly, and I appreciate it. I like you, Canada. You're alright.
That's good. Good, Canada. Good.
Good, Canada.
Aside from that, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. No, I think that was about it. We got a ton of promo cards, which was great, and it's great to see these and be like, oh, cool. Now we don't have to buy the original cards for casual play. But yeah, it was promos galore.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
Yeah. Shall we scooch on off to Rochester then?
Well, you guys covered the most recent tournament. Do you want to do Wave 11, or do you want to rehash the tournament?
Oh, yeah. I fought a Kanan Biggs in the most recent tournament, and he hated me so much because he couldn't move, and I was in Rage 1 all the time. That's about it.
Okay.
That's all I got. And yeah, Nick wasn't there, so it wasn't fun because we needed Nick there for fun. Because he is fun.
No, if Nick doesn't show up, he's automatically the Jar Jar, so it doesn't matter how badly we do, which is great. Really great for us.
Oh, cool. I'm okay with this. Nick, are you okay with this?
If that is the rule, if that's the rule, then call me Mr. Summer Jar Jar, because I can't come to any of these tournaments that you guys are going to.
I just picture, Obi-Wan and the security guard, fighting for their life and everything. And you're like, oh, Jar Jar, where are you? Cut over to him on a beach, just yep, whatever, I'm good.
Steve, that's where he's hanging out. He's watching over Annie.
Yeah. So to Wave 11?
Yes,
All right.
Wave 11.
And go.
So, I said that I love TLT Y-Wings? Well, I'm pretty excited about the idea of TLTs on a ship that has a 5 agility dice, natural, and then lightweight frame. Pretty excited about 4 ships that do that.
The TLT Y-Wings have never been super scary for me. Not being oh, I'm too good for whatever, but just there's no surprises, there's nothing special, they're just efficient. So you know what you're getting into from square one. Also, they don't have agility dice. They have one agility dice, so you can pretty much count on just mopping them. This, I'm scared of. For the first time ever, I'm scared of 4 TLT Y-Wings.
4 hull and 1 shield, I think. But if you do lightweight frame, and may the dice be with me, because it's a big risk reward. I could roll blanks and be dead immediately, or I could just be like take on a whole swarm of aces and still have 4 ships.
Yeah. So I was mentioning before in my like little mini rant about like people like saying the sky is falling over each wave, and like people obviously were like all 4 TLTs with the lightweight frame. I think people will fly that squad, but then I think it'll go away because sometimes the variance is going to be excellent on your side, where you're going to roll a bunch of natural evades and they're going to be like unkillable, and you're basically going to auto win from attrition if you roll great evades or if you're using your focus for evade.
Right.
There's a couple things to remember. The first one is if you're saving your focus for defense, which it definitely would on these ships, TLT, you're not getting any modifications with the TLT shots, so it's not quite as much damage against, say, like the Y-Wings, who probably are going to use their focus for offense because they're going to roll 1 dice. The second thing is because they only have 5 life, once you get a bad roll or 2, the ships are going to go down super, super fast. Any Alpha Strike list is going to just kill this list fairly quickly, and you start to lose the attrition battle. So these lists are going to show up, these 4 Imperial TLTs. They're going to have games where they really annoy people by doing very well and maybe throw people's tournaments off. But I don't see them like going to the top tables immediately and just winning tournaments, because I can just see if you have to play 6 games to win, a tournament, I can just see enough of those games, your green dice just letting you down and you're dying too fast. For it to matter when it comes to like making the final table. That's my opinion on it, but it's still going to be interesting because there's a lot with Y-Wings. You know exactly what you're getting, right? You're going to probably take a focus and spend that focus on one of your TLT shots, whereas with the Imperial one, there's a lot more decision making to make on whether you save that focus for offense or whether you use it for defense, right?
Right. I think mathematically, you're only rolling attack with 4 defense or 4 attack die. I think mathematically, you're only going to roll 1 evade on average. So that's still 3 damage and half your life that you might be taking.
Yeah. That's
definitely won't make it far, but I am super excited to just turn off my brain, fly ships in a GPS formation, and then be like, I roll lots of attack die. That's all I do.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't released the dial for the ship yet, but considering it already has a barrel roll, I think the thing that would worry me more, if the dial is very, very good, then that will be a little bit upsetting to me. I'm hoping it looks kind of like a TIE Advanced. I'm hoping it's not too much better than like a TIE Advanced or something like that. Like, probably shouldn't have 1 turns on the dial. 1 turn and barrel roll is dangerous on a TLT ship. You know what I mean? You can basically stand still.
Yeah.
Right.
The most
So
dangerous things about Dash is his. I'm gonna make a very small maneuver and then barrel roll, and range 2. I can only hit you. Okay, that's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine.
Yep.
yeah, many times when they're chasing after Dash, I'll do exactly that. I'll 1 hard turn and then I'll barrel roll, and then I'll get bumped. I won't get to shoot, but that's fine. Now you're facing the wrong way, and Dash can just forward barrel roll again, just out of your arc. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think with the 4 TLT Y-Wings for Imperials, you're going to have a much better opportunity to split up your force and do like more of a pincer tactic versus like Y-Wings. They're so awful and clunky, then like I only see them flown in formation for TLT Y-Wings. Maybe split them up into 2 segments of 2, but rarely.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people. I've seen a little bit of splitting them up to 2v2, and then you kind of one of them flanks and the other one just goes straight for them, essentially.
Yeah.
All right, do you want to move on to the Rebel ship for Wave 11?
Which
Do it
one?
up.
Oh,
Yeah, go ahead.
That's
I don't know
right.
anything about Chewbacca's or the Chewie ship, so go for it.
Okay, so yeah, the Chewie ship is, or the Azatok gunship. First off, it's made of wood. I don't understand
What?
why is it in
What?
space.
What?
Yeah.
What?
No, the ship. If you look at the ship, it's made of wood.
What? Hold
I
on.
guess.
What?
I guess. Yeah. I guess in the canon, the Chewbacca's home planet, the wood there is as strong as steel, so they can use it to build ships or whatever.
I don't care how strong you are. Wood is porous. Oxygen escapes through it. This is just wrong.
Not space wood, Nate. Not space wood.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I should have mentioned that earlier. It is space wood. It's space wood.
Okay, everything's better. Continue. Before I have an aneurysm. Jesus.
So the big scary thing that several people have posted about here is the 4 Kashyyyk defenders with Wookiee commandos. So you can fit 4 of those in a list. You can give them all the reinforce action, 9 life. That's pretty tough to chew through as a Dash Miranda player. That would scare me because A, it's a lot of health to chew through, so when it comes to attrition, there's a lot of squads that can't beat that before the dice pay off, right? So it doesn't have the target lock, so when you're rolling dice, blanks are blanks, but if you can get multiple shots and keep ships on the board for a long, long time, then the more shots you take, the more likely you are for that variance to tip into your favor. And so that is a worry for me as well. Again, we're going back to my little mini rant about casual players or even players who want to get better at the game but are still kind of learning. Going up against those squads, that's not going to be super fun for them. That said, I do think in a vacuum the pilot abilities are interesting. I like the fact that there's a rebel ship. Lorek says, when another friendly ship at range 1 is defending, you may spend 1 reinforce token. If you do, the defender adds an evade result.
Okay, that's the one you're talking about before with Biggs.
Yeah, so they're both, so you put that on with Biggs, and you can put Selflessness, which is the new EPT, which allows you to take hits for another ship, and you can really make Biggs last for a long while. Mm-hmm. Honestly, that also worries me, that squad, that combination and whatever else you want to add to it worries me a lot. But it makes me think that they're changing Biggs. It makes me think that Lorek is actually the replacement for Biggs, so you can kind of keep that effect going where Lorek can help defend other ships and also take damage for other ships, so it helps kind of do what Biggs is supposed to do, which is spread damage around to multiple ships, and you can't focus fire. I think that would be a really good replacement if you were planning on nerfing Biggs in a major way sometime in the future. So as a Rebel player, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of Biggs. I think that I would like for him to be nerfed, and so I think this would be actually a good replacement for him. So hopefully they'll nerf him, and we can kind of move on without Biggs being in every other Rebel list that I see that's not Dash Miranda.
Right.
The other one, I'm going to butcher this name. It's Wufwario? I don't even know. Look it up on Google. It's a horrible name. I can't pronounce it. But it's when attacking, if you have no shields and at least 1 damage card assigned to you, so this is about half your life, roll an additional attack dice. So range 1, after you've taken about half your life, you roll in 5 dice, which is pretty good.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of the gold standard for smash hammers.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And I think even until then you're rolling the 3 dice. You're at pilot skill 7. You've got the elite, so you can go up to 9. I think it's a good pilot ability. It's a good ship. You've got 2 crew, so he's going to be very expensive. But you can really kind of trick him out and make him, an attack, a high attack ship. You can put targeting computer on him as well, to give him that target lock for those 5 dice, which might be a thing.
Yeah.
Or even Predator. If you keep him at PS7, you put Predator on, is the elite talent pilot, or Lone Wolf, something like that.
No,
But I like, I like the idea. I like the pilot ability here on this ship. I think it's interesting. It's kind of similar to Nora, where Nora is just the ship that can put out a tremendous amount of damage, but you have to sink a lot of points into her. So normally when you do that, with Rebels, you pair them with Biggs so they don't die. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of where he fits. I think the other 2 ships fit. It's fairly obvious what type of squad you put them in. But the PS7, I'm not sure where I would put him in my squad.
Yeah, that kind of sounds like this guy is you can run multiple of them on the same list with the different PSs, and you'll end up with something pretty interesting, or you can just splash them in here and there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Nick, did you see any of the new guys, the Rebel stuff?
Imperials for life, bro.
Good. Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
You mean you don't want to find a treaty?
I would.
What's that?
Actually, kind of a side note, I am a big fan of World War II aviation, which I think is what Star Wars was originally modeled after. Yeah. And the idea that they're bringing a wood ship, kind of like the Mosquito, into this really adds a nice little to World War II.
It looks kind of organic as well if you actually look at the ship.
I could not.
The shape of it, yeah.
I could not disagree with you more. Wood and space are just 2 things that don't. They just don't. Why?
I mean, sound in space.
What's that?
Sound in space.
There is no sound in X-Wing. It is only what you bring to the table.
So, in space, only your opponents can hear you scream.
Sure. Maybe. Yeah. Whatever.
My dice when I roll blanks, but I also scream at my dice when I roll crits, so...
This is true. Yeah. The Rebel stuff I'm kind of really scared of, especially with the Havoc that's coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Havoc, I don't know what it's called, but like the fact that it's a Scum and Rebel ship, but there's only one Rebel pilot card, is that right?
Yeah, it's NIM is free. The NIM, the PS8 is for Rebel and Scum.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he has different effects though. I remember reading the Scum one is like, I forget, but the Rebel one specifically, I remember saying that you can just you can not activate a bomb for a turn if your own guys hit them. I saw that and I'm like, that's what? What?
Yeah. Once per round, you may prevent a friendly bomb from detonating, which is really cool because you can basically create no-fly zones with one of your bombs, or you can fly your ships over your bombs and just not care.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm really looking forward to the Scum stuff though, because like with the new stuff, with the Havoc there was a card, the 0-point system upgrade that says you can place your bombs with your asteroids essentially.
Yeah.
And I lost my mind and immediately put as many cluster mines on as many ships as I could and saw if I could build it out. And I just loved the idea of basically building a race course that players have to fly through instead of just asteroids.
Yeah.
So
this is another thing that people were getting agitated about. And for me, it's kind of similar to the Han Solo that came in Heroes of the Resistance, where it's not going to be, it's a fun card, especially like you're building like casual lists. But if I walk, people are saying like 3 Punishers can set down like up to 6 sets of cluster mines.
Yeah.
But what those people don't understand is if I walk any squad I take, if I walk to the table and I see that across the table from me, I've won. Like, all I have to do is I can either fortress if I have better dice than them, because I only have 2 dice each, or I just set up my ships pointing sideways, and then wherever you don't put them, I just fly through that space.
Yep.
Or I take one ship that has lots of life and I don't really care about, and I just make a hole, and now you just wasted, like 18, 20 points of your list, and then you have 3 Punishers left to face whatever list I bought. So I don't think this is going to be like a big problem. I think if people bring it, they'll maybe put 1 set of cluster mines somewhere. So like if you're playing against Jump Masters, right, they like to set up on the right so they can hard turn left.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Maybe so. Yeah. So maybe like, you bring that if you have 0 points left and you don't know and you have a free slot open, you bring that and you put 1 set of cluster mines on the the right hand side of the board, so if they start there, they have to immediately avoid that or something.
Right.
So, but other than that, I don't see this as like game breaking or like a negative play experience at all. It's just going to be someone's going to try it out a couple times and then they're going to realize, oh, this is just okay, and then you never see it again in competitive play.
I kind of feel like that happens a lot in this game, like a lot, and I like it.
Yeah.
It's a little disheartening sometimes, but I really like it.
So there's a lot of lists on Wave 11 that are just fuck you lists. Not competitive, but just fuck you lists.
Yeah. Well, we haven't even gone to the bomblet generator yet,
Oh, jeez. Yeah, you go ahead. Just keep talking about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
First of all, I just want to say, and again, disclaimer, I'm not one of these people who like hates on every article X-Wing, X-Wing related and says it's the end of the game, but like, no one was asking for free bombs. I played Bomber Miranda for like 6 months, and I don't want free bombs. Like, I'm gonna put it on Miranda as soon as it comes out and fly it, but why is there infinite bombs in this game now? Why? There's no reason for this.
I think it's kind of awesome, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with Sabine, you can drop a bomb, and let's say you got 2 ships in range. You could potentially do 5 damage, 4 from the bombs, and then 1 with Sabine, and some of those can be crits. That's crazy. It's crazy interesting, especially on the Scourge, but maybe I wish it was something like, put bomb the generator, put like 4 tokens on this card. Each time you drop one, you discard a token or something, so there was a limit to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I like the idea of just having like a cheap infinite bomb. I was waiting for a cheap bomb, and this is good that they actually do it. But no buts. It's kind of one of those things that it's like, here, we're gonna give you this new card. Good luck fitting it on anything. Like, you could put it on stuff, but you're gonna learn really quickly that it's not that great.
Yeah.
Actually, one thing I did want to mention is, aside from Wave 11, the Sea Rock came out.
Yes.
Scum Epic Ship. We're now a real faction because we have an Epic Ship.
You too can have a ship that sits on your shelf and does nothing.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I feel about it right out of the gate. But there's the interceptors that came with it, I think, are really awesome, but I keep trying to build with them and play with them, and I'm like, I'm doing nothing but building janky lists. So
yeah. I flew against one in Buffalo over the weekend, and it's a very interesting list. I'm actually going to write it because I know you wanted to look at it, Nate. I'm going to write it out and send it to you in chat.
Oh, good. Yeah.
But it's basically Sunny Bounder, who's the cheap PS1. Then it's got 2 of the, I think they're PS2s with lightweight frame. and then nothing else. And then there's 2 of them again with Heavy Seek and Mangler Cannon. Cartel Spacer is the ship, the PS2 one. So he has 4 of those total, 2 with Mangler, 2 with Light Seek, Sunny Bounder, and then the last one was the reroll guy, Sarasu. So he put VI on them, so it's PS10, and then the pilot ability is when another friendly ship at range 1 is defending, it may reroll 1 dice. And so he put Sarasu right in the middle of that swarm, and he got a lot of evades off of that ability before Sarasu died.
Wow.
It was very, very interesting because they have 3. People forget, like, they have low life, but they have 3 evade dice. So if they have focus and they can reroll their dice, it's kind of like Lone Wolf, Ray, Dash. Harder to hit than you would think. It was a very interesting game and a very interesting list. I'll make sure to get the list to you.
Right. And aside from the new interceptors, I do actually have a Jabba the Hutt list that I want to build at some point.
Yes.
But I mean, it can go on 1 ship. Good. You have to ask.
Yeah, they definitely wanted to make that a kind of like an epic card more than a 100-point card, in my opinion, because that in epic, that is an insanely powerful card.
Oh yeah, I would lose my mind trying to keep track of everything in Scum Epic. Like you're gonna have the 4 Brobots, you're gonna have the epic ship, and then any elicits are double use on any of all the cards. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, anything else on Wave 11?
So can't wait to get it.
Me too.
I have something to say about Wave 11 to negate a lot of the negative stuff that people are saying about Wave 11.
Oh yeah.
And that is, FFG is doing a really good job of releasing cards that are not great on the ships they come with, but improve the previous ships in other waves that maybe are not great. An example I want to give here is a Punisher, which is widely known to be the worst ship in the game. I honestly, I've flown one recently. They're fun. I think bomblet generator and unguided rockets on this thing, that's only 5 points. That makes it into a pretty decent ship. The PS6 one can actually drop a bomb out of his front guides and then do a free barrel afterwards. So Death Rain, I think, is the PS6 one. With those things on him, I think is 31 points, 33 points maybe, but it's in the low 30s. And I know that's a third of your list, but he has 9 life. You can put lightweight frame on him. I really, really think like people are going to underestimate how average that ship is. And I mean average in a good way, like it's getting better and it's you can put it on the board and not just be laughed at. Yeah. So I think all these articles about people complaining about like the game is broken, it's over, whatever, this wave is gonna blah blah blah, etc. People forget, like, take the cards that are in this pack and put them on older ships and see what they do. I think you're going to find some interesting combinations with Intensity, the EPT, with unguided rockets, with bomblet generator. So I think that's, you can put bomblet generator, Nate, on a quad jumper now with the Cad Bane crew card.
Yep.
And now you've got a cheap quad jumper with infinite bombs.
That's,
you know what I mean?
Just a little ship machine.
Yeah, exactly. So
you put that on the guy with the you could put that on the guy that can fire out of his, when he does a reverse maneuver, can fire bombs forward.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So there's all sorts of things you can do where like the game is not broken in any way. It's just it's fun to play.
Yeah. There is one other thing about Wave 11 that I haven't mentioned yet, because technically it is part of Wave 11 and it got teased. Scum is finally getting its ships back. The Star Viper and the Kuraz getting upgrades in the Guns for Hire expansion that's just got teased.
Yes, yeah.
God.
I'm not a scum player, but those ships, because you can build so many interesting things. Those ships want to make me buy into scum for sure. So
Yeah, it's just so nice
There's
to
something,
take a
yeah.
lot of the shit that I already have that's been sitting on my shelves doing nothing and finally get a chance to use them. Instead of, hey guys, I'm gonna use this. Okay, that's cute.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's quite a lot, and I think that's pretty much anything. Did anybody else have anything they wanted to talk about?
We do have intentions to go to a store championship, July 29th, Just Games.
Yeah.
That should be pretty fun for, I think, the three of us, just kind of a casual, fun thing.
Mhm.
And also should have 11 materials. So we'll definitely have some information before that or around that time, so stay tuned.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're in the area and Buffalo, Syracuse, it's only an hour drive. Come on down. We're friendly people.
Yeah. Most of us.
Most of us.
Yeah, that's we're really looking forward to that event. We actually had to move one of our other things around to make sure that we could all go. Are we all going? I know I'm going and Pat's going. Nick, are you able to go?
I have a marriage to stay. That's our anniversary weekend, so I'm not sure.
Shit. Okay. Yeah, no. All right, I'll fly some Imperials for you then.
But in her honor.
Yeah, or I'll just throw them in the trash. Same thing.
Oh, you're not borrowing my ships.
Okay. I'll just go buy some to throw out with my store prizes.
I will say one last thing that I want to say is that since we actually started playing competitively and going to tournaments and like store nights, my X-Wing addiction has been funded almost for free because of the store credit I've been getting.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I've been able to buy like tons of ships with store credit that I would either have to pay my own money or just not get. You know what I mean? So it's awesome.
Yeah, that is.
So you had to spend $600 to be competitive to be in these tournaments. So that's pretty much a walk.
Breaking even. Just
That's correct.
Yep.
Alrighty. So I think that's pretty much it. Any last statements?
Nope, I'm good.
Alrighty.
Shake our hands. Play with us. We'll have fun.
Don't be gross, Nick. Alright. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
We're passing through the magnetic field.